My goal today is that we are helping you grow your business. And so today we're going to be talking about backlinks. We're going to talk about marketing strategies that are working in 2024. And then we're going to dig in and get some work done. What makes a good website? So it's really important with your website that you have a fantastic experience when people come to your website. Google Analytics should be on your website. And it should be looking at how many pages did they visit? How long did they stay? What did they click on? Did they come back after a period of time? Did they refer friends to come to your website? The first thing you want to see is, does your website have a really good experience? Number 2 is a lot of referring backlinks. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. What does that look like? Why is it important? And number 3 is new, consistent content. So if you're not talking about pay-per-click ads, if you're talking specifically about search engine optimization, you need new consistent content. Okay, now, is anyone here familiar with Jane Austen? Jane Austen was a prolific writer in her time. She was born in the 1800s. She lived in England. At the time, the ruler of the day with King George was a regent. So that's why they called it the Regency period. A little bit of history, right? The thing that I find interesting about this period is that at that time, I could not walk up to Brent. I just walked up to him and said, "Hi, my name is Sarah. Who are you?" In that period, I couldn't have done that. I would have had, let's say my friend Spencer back here knows Brent. He would have had to introduce me to Brent for me to talk to him. Okay? Now, in the Regency period, there was a class system. So there were like farmers, the people that worked the land, and then there were landowners, and then there were dukes, and there were people who were lords who had parliamentary powers, and then there was the king. So you think about backlinks, it's really like the class system. And we're going to talk about domain authority, but for example, if a farmer made an introduction to me, to somebody else, that's a little bit helpful, right? But if a lord who had a lot of power introduced me to somebody, that's going to be more influential. You following me? So if you think about King George, who is like Google, right? We want the king to know who we are so the king can introduce us to his customers. That's the same thing as backlinks. So Google is looking at, number 1 is what's happening on your website that people are staying here and they're really helpful and they're coming back for great information. And how many people are introducing your content to their friends through backlinks. So if I have a website, my website's johnbojohn.com, and this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be creating new content, and we're going to be creating backlinks. I'm a website developer, right? Guy builds software systems. We have a lot in common. So as a web developer, I'm going to say to Guy, I'm going to write an article that says, top 10 things you need to know about software development in 2024. And I'm going to make a link from my website to Guy's website to an article. Maybe he's like, hey, this is a really cool thing you need to know about software. That is called a backlink. Okay? Now, you can pay for backlinks. That's something that there's some really great tools out there. The one that we use is called the Hoth, T-H-E, Hoth, H-O-T-H. And you can pay for backlinks. And I would recommend that that's part of your strategy. On the low end, a backlink is going to cost you about $150. On the high end, it's going to cost about $450, depending on if you get a farmer backlink or if you get a lord backlink, right? Depending on the domain authority of the backlinker and how high of that quality of that backlink is will determine how useful it is for you. Now, the really important thing is that they have to be relevant. I'm a website developer. Does it make sense for me to backlink to a sweet tea restaurant? Not really. I want to make sure we're partnering people in industries that make sense. New, consistent content. This is so important. Most websites get built and then they just sit there. It's kind of like building a storefront in the West Desert. Have you guys been to the West Desert? There's nothing out there. And if you were to build a storefront in the West Desert, you would have to build roads and you'd have to bring water to there and you'd have to bring in electricity. Same exact thing. How do you build a storefront in the West Desert if that's the website and you're building roads and you're building freeways and you're building water systems and electricity, that's through really fantastic new content. Do whatever you can do to post consistently. Once a month at minimum. Once a week would be ideal. Now, Google just came out with an algorithm that penalized people that are using exclusive AI copy. How do they know it's AI? Number one, it can be poor quality. We're actually using AI copy today, so it's a little bit of a paradox. But if you have a website and you've added 3 new blog post articles in all of 2024, and then all of a sudden you're using AI and you're posting 500 new articles a month, does Google know that it's not the same pattern as before, correct? So you want new, consistent copy, and these little spiders go out and crawl the internet and look at those new pages consistently. So we are seeing tremendous success with businesses who are investing in new copy. And we have tools. I have tools. For those of you guys who came to the AI workshop, I have some tools that we use to develop a marketing strategy using AI. But there is so much opportunity to develop new content, okay? At minimum, you need at least 300 words per article. That's your minimum benchmark. However, businesses that are ranking in the top 10 websites on Google have 1,400 words. So you don't have to be shy about content. You can get really big with your content. The next thing we're going to do is we want to find out your starting point. We want to see where is your website in terms of domain authority. Depending on which tool you use, they might call it domain strength, they might call it page strength, they might call it domain authority. We're going to check out where you're at. This QR code or the bit.ly, depending on if you want to hand type it on your desktop or if you want to grab it with your phone and send it to your laptop, this QR code will take you to my website, to our audit tool. You're going to go to that website. All you have to do is put in your name and your website URL. In just a few seconds, it's going to run a report. If you scroll down about 8 pages, this is a long report, you guys. This is so valuable because it will tell you everything in 5 categories that your website's doing well and that you need to work on. But we're going to specifically scroll down to where it says backlink summary, and it's going to show us 2 numbers. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's in this report while you guys are pulling that up. This report pulls in 5 areas of your website. So when I'm doing a report on a website health, I'm looking at several areas of expertise. This is one of the reports that I use. It's kind of like looking at a Rubik's Cube. You could have a Rubik's Cube on one side, you're like, the whole side is all the way green, and you're like, yay, I'm doing so well. But then you turn the Rubik's Cube over, and you're like, oh, I still have some work to do. So it's really important to have a full comprehensive look at your website. This is looking at your performance. How fast does it load? It's looking at hierarchy. It's looking at search engine optimization data. It's looking at technical components if there's changes that need to be made on your technology. If you're having a hard time with the URL, you can go to jambojon.com. That's JAMBOJON.com. This is really helpful to know, where are you starting? So this is the information Google's saying is how valuable is your backlink. And the reason why we're looking at this is because we want you to know the starting point. So as you continue to grow your business, this number will improve. You'll also notice the number of referring domains and the number of backlinks that you have. Okay? Do you guys see that on your report? Okay. How do you guys feel? What are your thoughts about this report? Some of you may have a pit in your stomach, and some of you be like, cool, this is awesome. Depending on how much work you've been doing on your website, right? So I want inside of your notes, as you're taking notes today, have evidence of where you're starting at, because as you continue to work on backlinks and new content, this number will continue to grow. Now that you guys have see each other and we know about backlinks, is your mind starting to spin about how you can help each other? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go to ChatGPT. So open up a new tab and go to ChatGPT if you haven't already. A lot of you have already started using that for ideas. Now, when we're using AI, we want to have an AI sandwich with human thought and input and editing. We don't want just some garbage copy and pasted something from AI. It's really important you have good input. I I have a prompt here that you can use to copy and paste into ChatGPT with the details from the spreadsheet. And what I'm going to recommend is let's start with that version and see what quality we get. And then we can edit from there. So it would say, if I was putting a website on if I was putting a link on my website, I would say, I own a website business in Utah. I am writing a blog article, and I'll show you my example in a minute. It was for Austin from HR Services. Please write a 500-word article titled, and you can grab one of your favorite article titles, have 3 or 4 suggestions, use the focus keyword, add a keyword if you want to, in the header, subheader, and once in the paragraph, using this information about the company. And then you're going to copy the notes given to you by your partner. So this is what it would look like. I own a website development business in Utah. Please write a 500-word article titled, 5 reasons why a good marketing plan should include an HR partnership. Please include the keyword HR service in the header, subheader, and once in the paragraph. But let's just run it through as is and see what quality we get, and then we can tweak. Christina had a great question. She asked, is this for a blog post? And this strategy is designed to make a new blog post on your blog, or you could set it up as a landing page. Either one is totally fine, but I would recommend we start with a blog page. Now, if you have a post that's ready, it's going to need to be edited. All right. Now you can use ChatGPT and say, rewrite this blog post as if I'm a cowboy. And it'll come up with something, a lot of swing. You can say, rewrite this post to talk to Gen Z or Gen Alpha. So don't be afraid to play with it and mold it. But then I want you to take it into a Word document and edit it, like do a one-time edit through it. Okay. And this is where we're getting, depending on how quick you are, you may need some time where you can really think about it. But we want to utilize ChatGPT and we want to use our minds. How is everyone feeling? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. We're a little bit out of our comfort zone today, aren't we? And I'm proud of you guys for doing something new, especially if you have a web developer on your team and you're here doing in the trenches. Good job. If this is your every day, it might be fun to be doing it in a room of people. So you guys at this point should have a version or a rough draft of a blog article you can put on your website, right? It may need some more love. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys what the next steps are. You guys can take a photo of it. These next steps are designed for a WordPress website. If you have a different platform, your steps are going to look a little bit different, but they're going to be very, very similar. And then I'm going to show you guys the blog post we did for EVN Law last month so you guys can see what it looks like. Now, today, we are not talking about images. Are images important? Yes. There's a whole thing about images, but we don't have time to talk about images today. We're not talking about on-site optimization. That's really, really important, but we're not talking about it today. So the next thing, and this is a pretty robust list, okay? But this is step by step how you would take that blog article and put it on your website. If you're on a content management system, you have a blog format on your website, okay? But this is the step by step of how you would add that content to your website. And you know what? It's really simple. It's not easy. Easy means little to no effort. Simple means that it's straightforward, it's digestible, you can do it. Does everyone here have a login to their website? Okay. If you do, I want you guys to follow the steps with me. If you don't, I want you to take a picture and you can come back to it. Some of you in the room may have a web developer that you're going to send this information to. This is going to be really easy. So the first thing I want you to do is open up a new tab and log into the back end of your website. Super, super easy. Typically, if you're on a WordPress website, you do url.com/login and it will take you to that. And you have a username and a password. Okay? The second thing, at the tippy top, there's a plus button. There's a plus button at the very top, or you can go on the sidebar where it's going to say posts and add new. You can either go post and add new on the side, or you're going to have the plus button at the top to say add new post. You guys following along with me so far? Then you're going to copy your title. Most URLs will be the title. Whatever you put in the title for the website will be the title for the URL. Pop your title in there. And then you're going to just take that whole chunk of content, copy it, and paste it into the paragraph content. And then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to highlight a word inside of that article, and you have to go back to your file and see where does your friend want their website backlink to go. It could be just to the homepage. It could be to a special download that they have. It could be to a relevant page. So, for example, Guy and my company are doing backlinks, right? So we're going to talk about how software, he's going to write an article about how software and web development go hand in hand. So he's linking to my website development landing page. So I'm going to add a desired backlink. This is the really cool idea that Wendy had. She said, what's your LinkedIn profile? Do you have a page on your website with your bio? So if you want to go above and beyond on your article to your partner, you could link to a couple of places on their website. When you reference their name, so Guy Harding, you could highlight Guy Harding and send it to his LinkedIn profile. And that would be 2 links for him. Then we're going to make it pretty by adding a featured image. We're not talking about that in this course. That's a whole thing. And then you need to link to somewhere else on your web page. I'm writing an article, I'm going to highlight Guy, but I need to link to another page on my website. Google wants an off-site link and an on-site link. We want both of those things. This is the page I made for EVN Law last month. Navigate your business with care, get a business lawyer. So there's this content about how not only how websites and attorneys are connected. But you see that nice image? It's an image that matches the Jumbo John style, but it reinforces the message of the image. So my number 1 tip, you can use AI to make graphics, and that's super cool. Number 2, if you're not using AI, because that gives you the license, make sure you purchase a license with your stock images. You can't just go to Google and say, I need a picture of a cat and use it on your website. You have to buy the images. If you use an image from your phone, or if you just download an image from a stock photography place, you have to resize it. Because that image has enough data to blow it up and put it on the wall, which will make your websites really slow and really heavy. So, good, better, best. A really good option, would be to use Canva. Canva's free. And what you need to know is, what is the size of the image? What exact size does it need to be? Typically for a blog post, like 600 pixels by 400 pixels would be good. You want to download the image as a JPEG if you can, because those are the lightest version. So once you download your image, you can go, say that URL again. Compressor.io, or you can use Image Optim, and you have to run it through the program, and it literally just takes the data that it doesn't need away and makes it super lightweight. The other thing you can do is you can take your images and turn them into WebP images. In the olden days, like a year ago, we used JPEGs and PNGs. Next generation image format is WebP. And WebP, you can make really big images, super crisp, but they're really, really light. So the moral of the story is, number 1 is relabel your images so they have a good label. It's not iStock image 75,000. It's like men's barbershop, Park City, Utah, right? Number 2 is make sure it's a reasonable size and then post it. You guys might be having a wide variety of feelings, from I'm so excited to, oh my gosh, that was overwhelming, to I can really do this. The reason why I wanted to have muscle memory in here is because this allows you to take this skill and apply it into your business into the future.